our first guest was sworn in as head of the Miami-Dade County Commission earlier this year. Audrey Edmonson is the first African-American female to lead the commission. And of course, she is a familiar face. Since 2005, she has served as commissioner of District 3. That includes the Liberty City, Little Haiti, Wynwood and Alappattah neighborhoods. My colleague, Dr. Sean Foreman, head of Barry University's History and Political Science Department, joins us with the chairwoman to talk about her historic swearing in and the mark she hopes to leave on the county. Sean, take it away.
Thank you, Sandra. Chairwoman Audrey Edmonson, welcome to your South Florida. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Sean. It is a pleasure to be here.
Well, there are many issues I'd like to discuss with you today, but I wanted to start with some of the priorities that you have listed during your term as chairwoman of the commission. Develop initiatives to eradicate gun violence, enhance affordable workforce and public housing, and to continue to develop better modes of transportation through the SMART plan. Can you give us a little update on the SMART plan to extend rail corridors in Miami-Dade County?
Well, I can give you a short update on that. So far, we have approved the South Corridor, which we will be using buses on the South Corridor. That pathway has already been printed out for us. The North Corridor, we received recommendations for rail. So we'll be looking to approve something in the near future.
And so does the county have the funding necessary for these corridors, or is that something that still needs to be secured?
The county has the funding sources for the South Corridor, and as you know, FDOT will be doing the North Corridor.
And could you possibly give us an estimate on when we might see the South Corridor taking shape?
That depends on permits, and you know, it goes through certain cities, so there's a permitting process that has to occur, as well as more approvals from the commission.
Okay. Another transportation issue is the bridge that's being built over I-395 called
our Signature Bridge.
Signature Bridge.
Yes.
What does that mean, Commissioner?
What it is it will be our signature bridge. It will not be a carbon copy from something else. We had a panel that was put together a couple of years ago. We chose one bridge. The state decided they wanted to do something else, number 2 bridge, so that's what we're getting. But it's a beautiful bridge.
And so what will this do to the downtown area around the Arts Center and the museum there?
I think it would transform the whole entire area, especially from the aerial view. You can look right out of the Adrian Arts Center and look right into the bridge. As you're driving I-395 and you go through the bridge, I've seen shots, reality type shots, 3D. As you drive through it, it's a beautiful sight.
Okay, so it's going to enhance the visibility of downtown,
yes,
as well as access.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me ask you about youth gun violence. That's an important issue everywhere in this country, but especially I think in areas in downtown Miami and in part of your district. Mm-hmm. And I know you were part of a task force that looked at solutions to try to reduce gun violence. What did you come up with? What
we came up with is a new initiative. We did jump out of the box there with the current initiative that we're doing. We're starting out with billboards, and the billboards have already been placed in certain high crime areas within the county. The first set of billboards will address truancy as well as the curfew that is we're experiencing here in Miami-Dade County.
Remind us again of what is the curfew?
The curfew is 11 o'clock on weekdays and 12, I believe, on weekends.
And that's for 18 and under?
That's for 18 and under, yes.
Okay. And what else will you be able to do to try to get at some of the
Okay, once we advertise these billboards and we go out and let people know exactly what we're doing and what we're talking about, then we start with the boots on the ground stage of this initiative. And that will be placing people from the community, some leaders, some people with criminal backgrounds, with ex-offenders, but they have turned their lives around. So we will be actually paying them to go knock on the doors of the known criminals in those areas. And we will give them an option. And that option will be, we'll take you, the county will take you, train you in some type of vocation, we'll find you employment, or you can continue on the same route that you're going. And if you decide to continue on that same route, then we will be watching you and we will take you in for that. After that, of course, we will have safe havens in the churches, We will also then look at truancy records, and as you know, you can tell a child when they're going the wrong way by the 3rd grade with their truancy records. We will visit the parents, find out if they need assistance or help with the children, or if they need help. And if we find that it is the parent that's doing it, then we will hold that parent responsible.
Well, this sounds like a different approach than just looking at crime, but you're trying to get at the root of the issue.
Yes.
Of people who need services, jobs,
and
education.
You're absolutely right. We need to get at the root. And the root, it starts at home. It starts at home. A lot of people say, well, the schools aren't doing this and the politicians aren't doing that, but it starts at home, and that's where we're going to go. We're going into these homes and see what kind of help and services we can offer.
Mm-hmm. Another priority of yours and of the county overall is affordable housing. As we're seeing so much great redevelopment in downtown Miami, that's also driving up the cost to live there and maybe making it less affordable for working class or younger people. And so what can we do to attract people to that area?
Well, we're
of the
already doing, we're ensuring that we are building and encouraging developers to come in and build affordable housing in that area. Especially in that Overtown area and the Omni areas, and they have the CRAs. So we're building a lot of affordable housing and development in those areas. We're bringing also with some of the public housing units in there, we're getting ready to redevelop those areas, and we will actually mix public housing with affordable and workforce as well as market rate housing.
When you say mix, is that because the county puts forward a policy that requires certain
We don't have a
units
policy, but it's something that we're encouraging.
Okay. What do you see as your priorities for, so you've been in office for a while, you've been on the county commission since 2004. Is that right?
2005.
2005 when you took office. Before that you were mayor in El Portal. And voters approved in Miami-Dade County term limits for commissioners back in 2012. And those will kick in starting in 2020. You'll be part of the first class of people termed out.
Yes, we will.
All right. So for that reason, we know that you're in your last 2 years as a commissioner. What do you want to see accomplished during your remaining time in office?
What I would like to see accomplished is us at least having 10,000 units, and this is something that Commissioner Dennis Moss is pushing, and I'm proud of him for pushing it, have at least 10,000 units coming in of affordable and workforce housing by the time we exit off the commission. And that's not all of them being built, but in the pipeline.
Now, are you just talking about in the downtown area, or is this
No,
throughout
this is
the county?
countywide.
Countywide affordable housing.
Yes.
And on those term limits, again, they're going to take place. I know that you were one of the people who was opposed to the idea. In fact, even the commission thought about bringing back another question and asking voters to revisit it.
You heard that.
I mean, what do you think is going to happen when we have a bunch of new faces, even if they're people who have experience coming into county government?
What they will not be coming in with is the history. Knowing what we have tried before, what did not work, what failed, that will not be there. What I would see is maybe the mayor or administration and the lobbyists probably running the county, because that's all the history that they will be getting, and that's from staff as well as some of the lobbyists coming in.
Yeah, so lose the institutional memory.
The institutional knowledge, yes.
And this is what's happened in the state legislature, where they have term limits and higher turnover.
And nothing's moving.
Nothing's moving.
And that's what we will experience here in the county, because when you have a commissioner going out, it takes 8 years, really, to learn exactly what's going on in the county and actually get something done. So when one commissioner goes out in 8 years, another one comes in, and their priorities may be different from that one. So everything that was started before may come to a halt, and something else gets started, and it takes another 8 years, and then that person is out.
One substantive issue I wanted to ask you about before we finish our time here is the MDX, the Miami-Dade Expressway Authority. So the state legislature just passed a bill that would eliminate it, and we're waiting to see what the governor will do. He's likely to sign it, and you serve on that board.
I don't know if he's going to sign or not. I resigned from that board.
Okay.
But if he does, I think there will be a lawsuit. And what you also see, I think what you're seeing happening right now, and he hasn't even signed yet, is their bond ratings have gone down. And that's going to make it more difficult for them to even get some type of bond or at a higher interest rate. So things are already moving, and the reason that the bond ratings are going down is because now the MDX does not have authority, is not seen as having its own authority, and being these are politically motivated.
And why do you think that the legislature went this direction? It was even sponsored by a senator and representative from Miami-Dade.
From this area?
Yes.
I think it was personal, I'll be honest with you. It was personal. It was against the MDX board because they did not do as they were instructed to do by the legislators in Tallahassee, as well as our mayor. I think it was just personal.
Okay. Well, so a final question for you. So you will not be on the ballot in 2020 as a commissioner because, as we noted, there are term limits. Will we see you on the ballot for another position, maybe mayor of Miami-Dade?
I knew what was coming next. No, I will not be on the ballot for mayor, and I will not be on the ballot for any other county position. I would really rather retire.
Okay, so retirement is an option, but
that's a big option.
You still haven't decided what will come
no,
after
I have not decided.
You leave the commission.
No.
Well, thank you very much.
But that's coming soon.
It is, but in the meantime, still many priorities to accomplish over the next year and a half.
There's a lot to get done before we leave.
Well, Commissioner Audrey Edmonson, thank you very much for joining us today on Your South Florida.
Okay, and thank you for having me.
Thank you.